Daniel, I wonder if you could address that. I understand that there is some concern that people can't pay via credit card anymore.
In the past, people
Daniel,
can be,
I'll have to use the mic, sorry. For the benefit of those at home.
in the past, people can leave their credit number to Cindy, and Cindy can keep that number and do it by ourselves every quarter. But now we do not accept this method. We will ask people to call in, tell front desk or Cindy their credit card number, and we do the collection for them.
Okay, thank you. Also, they're working currently on switching the email over to Office 365. This is currently being done in August. They're working on the fire company lease, which is coming up later in today's meeting. Staff are working on current year financials and reports. We're waiting to hear from the province on rollout of funding for municipalities to cover any losses due to COVID. The capital project spreadsheets have been updated, and staff are also working on the infrastructure and new deal gas tax claims. That's my report, Your Worship. Plus also included is the town income statement for July and the utility income. Any question, or Daniel can answer.
Okay, just generally things look pretty positive. We're down a little bit on property tax, I see. I just wonder what the reason for that might be.
Yes, Daniel, would you have an answer for that? It's down about 50,000 there.
We're down 50,000 when?
Property tax.
Or property tax?
For the property tax, we are quite in line with our budget. For the YTD, the year-to-date actual, we have 1.5 million revenue on property tax, and for the budget, we have also about 1.5 million for the property tax income.
So we don't really have an answer. It's kind of normal for it to be that fluctuation. The 50,000 we might catch up next month, that type of thing.
I don't have the answer right now, but I
Because
can.
we can get it, we'll get it for next
And I
month.
guess the other thing is the rentals are down
Right.
significantly because
Yes.
of COVID. Yeah.
And also because the fire department lease, and then yes, room rentals are way down, of course. Yeah, so we're averaging about 9.4% in revenue down, but also our expenses are quite similar at minus 8.9%, 8.8%. Robert, go ahead.
Your Worship and Councilor McDonald, I just wanted to say there's always a year-end adjustment as well in the property tax for new development, so we don't always pick up the new development cost as we go. And if I can, while I have the mic, I didn't think to introduce, we did have 3 staff members here tonight, and Blaine has already left, he's traveling. But I also just want to acknowledge Daniel Zhang and Jeannie Lin, our project manager. We have several managers who are on vacation this week, and they came to experience the council meeting, but be here to answer questions in their area. So just want to acknowledge their presence and thank them, and let you know that when that part is finished, you are welcome to leave if you want to.
Thank you, Robert.
Welcome.
No?
Thank you. Sorry.
That's my report, Your Worship, unless there's any questions.
Okay.
One thing, I'll just have, Councillor McDonald, I was just wondering, at one point in our budget, we were wondering about, on the utility side, the water usage and billing on that end. And I'm thinking it's right around now where we're kind of going to have a read on, we didn't know, we were worried it was going to be, not to budget. We weren't sure what to expect with COVID, and I was just curious as to the water usage and where we sit there as far as billing on the utility side.
Yeah. Well, according to this report, we're just down minus 3%, and our expenses are down minus 7%. So, but to get a specific answer as far as the amount of
Yeah, I'd be just curious
Yeah.
with COVID and everyone home,
Right.
whether it was what we were expecting, I
Right.
guess, but.
Our unmetered water sales are down about almost 20%.
Yeah.
Projected to be 48,000 units of this
doesn't feel comfortable answering that with the utility question, we can certainly get it from
That's
Kim
okay,
next
yeah,
month.
it was just more curious as opposed to,
And you're right, we were going to review it
Mm.
this time.
yeah, thanks.
Okay.
I know in Charlottetown, I believe they have a ban on watering lawns. Right now, I don't believe we have that here. So I know that, you know, because of the weather we're getting, the water tables down, and I don't know if that's a concern for the town, but anyway, I know they're probably on top of that.
I would just like to thank Gail McDonald and her staff for financial planning. It's a tough enough job in the best of times, but during this last 6 months, it might be really difficult. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay, thanks for your report, thanks for all you're doing. As Councillor Smith suggested. Okay, we'll now move on to item number 13, I believe it is. Am I right, that's infrastructure is the next one on the agenda? That's the next one?
Safety services.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, we swapped safety services for, yeah, right. Okay, we'll now go to item 12, which is now safety services. Yeah. Right, go ahead, Councilor Smith.
Thank you.
Safety services.
Before I start my report tonight, as per usual, I have a few items I'd like to introduce to the record. Under the RCMP report, we have 2 new radar signs within our jurisdiction now. One is a mobile speed sign, and one is on Bunbury Road. All data for the above have been analyzed, both with on and off mode. 85% of the people being monitored are within the speed limit, and the other 15%, the times have been noted for speeding, and enforcement will begin. Vulnerable records checks are now being done in Stratford. Since August, the numbers has picked up. The only exception to this rule is that if you have a vulnerable records check done and your name is similar, or your date of birth is similar to an individual who has a record, you have to go to Maypoint Plaza to clear that matter up. We have report of some traffic signs are being covered by tree branches and growth this year. And the RCMP are saying that it's hard to enforce rules when you can't see the signs. So we're asking the public that if they see such signs being covered by branches and stuff, any traffic signs, that they call us, notify us of the area, and we'll try to get that cleared up as soon as possible. Chief Superintendent Richards has been transferred. I know that everybody in the town council wishes him all the best in this new posting, and we will be looking forward to meeting the new chief superintendent when he moves to PEI. Corporal Dudley reports that the morale remains high among the Stratford members. Okay, we're going to the RCMP stat sheet. Check stops for the month for 8, repaired operations for 4, NSC checks 24, and the SOTS issued states it as 11. That is incorrect. It is now 16. We had a correction come in very late this afternoon. Some tickets were found that were not turned in for the month. So we now have 11 speeding tickets, 3 non-moving, 1 driving while suspended, 1 moving, and a total of 16 tickets, and that brings it up to $1,750 in fines. Right. Move over to the RCMP reports of incidents, and again, it's basically nothing outstanding for the month. We'll move into the traffic files, and Corporal Dudley, who is not here tonight, he's been working long shifts, and he promised his boss that he's going to take her over to supper tonight, and I was not going to get involved in that. But as you see on these charts, they have again pointed out where the traffic stops and incidents have happened within the town of Stratford. And there's nothing really outstanding this month in regards to that kind of stuff. So that is basically the RCMP report. Now we're open for questions, certainly. You can answer them if you can.
Councilor Smith. I really like the RCMP traffic file there showing the areas they stopped. And I noticed that most of them are the Trans-Canada Highway, which gives us an idea where their traffic stops are. I would like to see more of that spread out, but it is what it is. But I do like it shows us what's happening within the town. And the other thing I question, I guess it's ongoing, I know we're doing criminal record checks now. Did we ever check into see if we would get the revenue from that, or is that just off the record now, or can you comment on that? Or?
That would be an ongoing thing, and I don't have an answer for you.
Pardon?
I believe it's a federal issue. I think Robert talked about that before. It's the way the federal structure that way, right?
I think you're right, Councilor.
Yeah.
We do have the ability to lay or to add a charge to it, but only if, the way the contract's written, only if it's our employee and not their employee. So the way the contract's currently written, we don't have the ability to do that. We could ask if we could put a surcharge on it, but they don't have to agree.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Thank you. So Councillor Smith, last month I asked if the report could go back to the way it was with a month-over-month comparison. I noticed that that didn't get changed. Maybe they're open staff for the summer or something, but if that could be changed for next month, that would be great. Also, the figures don't appear to be correct. Say, for instance, looking under the 911 Act, we had 6 incidents in July, and yet we had only 3 for 7 months of 2018. So that figure seems way off. Also, uttering threats, we had 6 for the month of July, and we had 5 for the 7 months of 2019. You see what I'm observing here? Once again, suspicious person seems to be way off. Yeah, and also warnings issued, we had 11. And for the year 2018, for 7 months, they only wrote 14. So I just think the figures are incorrect on the report. If you could bring that to his attention, that would be great. The Stratford Mayor's report that indicates how much fine we are getting, the amount of fine. Do you happen to know what the town's percentage of that fine comes back to the town? And if not, I wonder if we could get that for next month. I don't think we get the full amount.
We get it all except for the victim surcharge, I believe, and I don't know if that's included in that.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions, Councillor Smith.
Thank you. In regards to your numbers and statistics, good pickup. I will be talking now, for the record, we do have a new clerk at the Stratford office, and I'm sure that there'll be a working system here, and we'll get it up this time.
Great.
We'll get this done.
And you also mentioned that the RCMP are noticing that tree branches are covering our yield signs and stop signs. I wonder, I hopefully that they know to call into the Stratford reception, right, so it can be addressed right away rather than just counting on the citizens to call us. Thanks.
That'll come under provincial government. Will look after that issue with the signs, right?
I don't know, Robert, do we have the ability to cut away branches from a speed sign or a stop sign, or does that have to go through a provincial government motion?
Probably would have to go to the province. I don't know if we have legislative authority, but they would have legislative authority to make sure that those branches are clean. They might give us permission, in which case we could
streetlight report, we have nothing for the month. I will move on to the Humane Society. Again, there's nothing outstanding. They're patrolling the area. They're licensing dogs that are new to our community, but there's nothing really outstanding there in regards to dangerous dogs or an incident like that. We move on to transit reports. As we all know, COVID is on the go, but as we grow accustomed to the way we now have to act, the bus system is starting to pick up again. You'll see a curve going up. I would expect that in August, September, with the universities and/or high schools going back in, that you're going to see ridership up again. So, although we did have a down period, it's starting to come back up. So, there is definitely a need for transit, and it's being used and being counted on. And we'll move on to the fire department comments. The fire department again had an average month, but as per Councillor McDonald's request, on the very bottom, you will see where the 3 fires have been identified. And Woodlawn Drive, there was a kitchen fire, Dale Drive, an electrical fire, and St. John's Avenue, a big fire. So the request is to look into, now that they haven't had any. Thank you.
Okay, any questions on Councillor Smith's report?
There's one last thing.
Oh, sorry.
I'm happy to report that I believe the lease has now been completed. It's on the agenda for tonight, and that is another situation I can put behind me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to, thank you for your report, Councillor Smith. We'll now move on to item number 13, infrastructure. As the Chair of Infrastructure, Deputy Mayor Gary Clow to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. We didn't have we haven't had a meeting, and we're hoping to have one next month for infrastructure. The report's in your package. I'll go over some of the items that the wastewater treatment plant, the system is operating well with staff closely monitoring and making necessary adjustments as required. The wastewater collection system to Charlottetown work continues at the pump station building with approximately 90% of the building complete. Structural steel work under the bridge is near complete, and pipe installation under the bridge is anticipated to begin in September. Connection of the buried pipes are being completed at the Charlottetown Pollution Control Plant, and commissioning of the new system is expected to begin in October. And I was told this week that the pipe is arriving for under the bridge hopefully this week. It will be stored at the old government garage, Charlottetown there. And they're bringing a person in from Alberta to do the fusing on the pipe, and he's not available until the middle of September. So that's something I wasn't aware of, but he'll be an expert in that field, and he'll be coming to do that work. Infiltration reduction. A request for quotes is being prepared for the installation of approximately 15 floating frames and covers for manholes, which are situated in asphalt, as well as for repairs and adjustments to approximately 40 manholes. This work will help minimize the inflow of surface water into the sanitary sewer system. Investing in Canada infrastructure programs, sewer lift station upgrades. Coles are continuing to review the options of pumping Corey sewer station into trunk mains. They are assessing the capacity of the trunk mains to convey flows from Corey, both in the short term and long term, by including future growth of the town in their assessment. The utility has provided information to Coles to assist in the process. However, the report has not yet been submitted by Coles. Water station upgrade. CBCL had proposed reduced scope of work that meets the budget. However, the utility requested slight changes to their proposal plan. CBCL are currently finalizing the design package, of which will be phase 1 of the project, to submit to utility review. Retroactive transportation, approval of funding has been received for the Georgetown Road Sidewalk and Bicycle Lane Extension Project. The design work has been awarded to Coles Associates, and the design package has been submitted to the town for review. Construction is anticipated to begin in September. I'm also told that the province is working on the design for the intersection of Kethick and Georgetown Road. So we're not sure what's going to take place down there, but I know they're looking at it and hopefully come up with a plan for that intersection. The infrastructure staff have been working, cutting grass, landscaping, gardening. Unsightly premises seems to be popping up more now. Pesticides, stormwater inspections, speed humps, trail grooming, and a new bridge was constructed on the Marion to Aintree Trail. Hydrants maintenance program. So they've been extremely busy over the past month, and that's my report, Your Worship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your report, Deputy Mayor Clow. We'll now move on to Committee of the Whole.
Well, just wait.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. Regarding the Provincial Active Transportation Fund, do we know yet what the, came really loud, do we know what the split is on that funding?
Jeannie,
For a while it was 50-50, and then I heard 80-20, and do we know that yet?
The funding is a 50-50 split. However, the funding only covers 25% of any costs related to the stormwater that may be involved with the project. So on this particular project, there will be ditch infilling and storm sewer system installed. So our total project cost will not be a 50-50 split. It's a mixed version of that.
So it'll be, you could potentially be higher than 50. Is that what you're saying?
The town's portion.
The town's
would
portion.
be higher, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Now, there may be opportunities to review support through other means with transportation, infrastructure, and energy.
Okay.
But that hasn't been pursued just yet.
So taking that into account, the Georgetown Road sidewalk project was like a very high cost, I think, relative to the Kethick Road multi-purpose trail, or actually I think originally we were just thinking putting a shoulder on the road, on Kethick Road for active transportation, which was gonna be fairly cost effective. But the multi-purpose trail project would be obviously much more. So with knowing that now, should we maybe revisit that? Because that's going to be a significant higher cost than what we thought, or I don't know. I guess that's more a question to.
You mean revisit the project in Georgetown Road?
Well, I just in lieu of the funding, like I don't know any numbers yet. I guess I was kind of waiting on the funding model to see
Maybe the contract.
what that number.
awarded.
No, for design, but
Yeah.
I mean construction is your big cost, right?
So
Yeah, it's been awarded too.
if I can just jump in.
Yeah, sure.
So there were 2 applications submitted for those projects, 2
Yeah.
separate applications. So the funding that we have approved is for the Georgetown Road sidewalk.
Okay,
Of course, we're not at a point yet with the design that we have a cost estimate produced.
okay,
But in applying for the funding, our estimate was in the range of just over 900,000 for that project.
that's for Georgetown Road?
Correct. So in comparison, the multi-use or multi-purpose trail on Kethick Road
Yeah,
is in the range of 1.7 million.
okay, so I had it backwards then. I thought the
The
Georgetown
Kethick
Road
Road
was a
project
big,
is much longer.
okay.
It's like 2.5 kilometers, where Georgetown is just over 500 meters, so.
And I think originally, yeah, we weren't thinking the multi-purpose trail. I think we were just thinking the shoulder, and that's
Just
what I
widening
know
the
that
shoulders
too.
would have been
Yeah.
more cost
Yeah.
effective.
Okay, so now that's good to know. Yeah, because we were unsure on that funding model, so now we know.
And we haven't received any word on funding on that Kethick Road project.
We haven't, okay.
As of yet. We are proceeding with the design,
Yeah,
but we have no word on whether or not we could proceed with construction.
no, that's good. All right, thank you.
Good question.
2020, approval of lease for the fire company in the Stratford Emergency Service Center, dated this date. Whereas the new Stratford Emergency Service Center was constructed to house the Crossroads Rural Community Fire Company, RCMP, and Island EMS. And whereas a lease agreement was negotiated between the town and the fire company to set the terms and conditions of the lease, which include a 50-year lease period, a cost-sharing approach, whereas wherein the fire department pays their allotted share of cost, financing, and operation of the building based on the square footage that is occupied and shares 70%, no more, no less. Be it resolved that the attached lease between the town of Stratford, the Crossroads Rural Fire Department, effective the January 1st, 2020, be hereby approved, and the mayor and chief executive officers be authorized to affix their signatures thereto. This resolution bears the recommendations of the Council of the Whole as discussed at a meeting held on July 30th, 2020, and I so move this motion.
Seconder? Thank you. Okay, just a couple small things. It is the Chief Administrative Officer and it's Committee of the Whole. So with those minor changes to the text, what was read in, we'll proceed. Okay, any discussion?
I just want to thank the CEO for all his time and dedication to this project along with the financing department. It's been a long haul.
Yeah, and I think this building is something we can all be proud of. Everyone here had a role to play, and the staff really worked hard and did a great job in bringing this to completion. Chief Administrative Officer Hughes did a great job in working with the fire company to come up with this lease, and with the Chair of Safety Services and the fire company executive board. So this is quite an accomplishment, and we're really pleased to see it. I'm really pleased to see it in place. So with that, unless there are other comments, call for the vote. Any other comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, you have another resolution here, which is waterfront park land and core area planning review design proposal. And I'm not sure if this is more recreation or planning. I guess it's probably more planning, so I'll ask Councilor Burridge to chair of planning to read this resolution.
We can arm wrestle for it to make things interesting.
I'll lose.
That would be embarrassing, wouldn't it?
Yes.
CW 006-2020 Waterfront Parkland and Waterfront Core Area Planning Review. Whereas proposals were requested from qualified consultants to develop conceptual designs for the waterfront park and gateway and conduct a planning review of the waterfront core area zones. And whereas proposals were received from the Glen Group, Fathom Studios, Stantec, and Upland Planning and Design with fees and expenses as follows. And they're all shown in the table. Do you want me to read those in?
If you're comfortable with the tables, that's fine.
I can say Glen Group at $79,710, Fathom Studios at $63,470, Stantec at $93,801, and Upland at $74,870. And whereas the proposals were rated by a proposal review committee consisting of the Chair of Recreation, Culture and Events, the Chair of Planning, Development and Heritage, the Chief Administrative Officer, the Director of Recreation, Culture and Events, and the Project Manager prior to opening the cost proposals, the final ratings were as follows. Glen Group at 88.5, Fathom Studio 79.1, Stantec 73.0, and Upland 89.6. And whereas the proposal submitted by Upland Planning and Design was rated the highest, and the references came back excellent, be it resolved that the proposal submitted by Upland Planning and Design in the amount of $74,870 plus HST to develop conceptual designs for the waterfront park and gateway and to conduct a planning review of the waterfront core area zones be hereby accepted. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Proposal Review Committee as discussed at a meeting held on August 10th, 2020. So moved.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Okay, discussion? Anyone have any comments or questions on this proposal, this motion?
This thing that went out, we had a lot of interest, did we not? About people wanting to put submit bids in on this?
We had quite a few take out the RFP, a number of them from Upper Canada, Ontario, that chose not to submit, but also a number of local firms who, what they end up doing is team up with other firms. So we got 4 in the end, which was, I thought, really good, and they were multiple firms for the most part with each proposal.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions or other questions or discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried. Okay, we'll now move on to, and thank you for reading those resolutions. We'll now move on to sustainability, and Chair of Sustainability, Councillor Darren Blue.
Thank you, Your Worship. We'll mosey on through this. We're getting a little late here. We are back in business, the Sustainability Committee. We met as a group. Sorry, we didn't. We met on Zoom as a group. We didn't meet in person. But we're back in business in that regard. I guess that's the new normal business. We introduced Maddie, who was hired as our environmental sustainability coordinator, which we're all aware of. We introduced to the committee that Maddie Crowell was present in the Zoom meeting, and we introduced her in a new position. Regrettably, Rosemary Curley left the committee. She chose to step down. I'm sure you all know Rosemary. She's been a real asset to this community, and Rosemary, she'll be missed. We touched on the PACE program again. It's still something that we are discussing in sustainability. Just working out the finer details of it. And again, this is all in your package. You can have a read through there, but we've had some debate in council about it and whatnot, and so we're still moving that program forward and getting everything, all the kinks ironed out and whatnot. An interesting point was in the community endorsement programs. We have an update there. If you're all familiar, it was with the PNP program, and new immigrants were scored and received significant amount more points for setting up businesses in rural PEI versus urban PEI. And that gap's been narrowed. I think it was a 35-point type of system that you would receive for a rural PEI business investment versus 10 points for an urban, and we qualified as urban. Not sure if that's exactly how they worded it, but now that gap's been narrowed to 15 and 10. So that's to our benefit, and we're happy to hear that. Wendy spoke about our Support Local program. We had a discussion about that. Note was Steve Collette of Third Degree. He was doing a Facebook promotion where they introduced themselves and what they do and whatnot, and that was seen perhaps as a model that we can use as well. Maddie, who's coordinated our tree preservation program, and she provided a study a while back. I'm sure perhaps you don't remember, but she did, and she spoke about that a bit. And again, you can update yourself on that in their package here. I think that highlights everything from the meeting. Essentially, well, we touched on the water conservation program and our core area development. We had discussions about both as well. And moving forward, the committee is intending on meeting again every month through Zoom until until we get clearance to all join up, meet in person again. That's my report, Your Worship.
Oh, thank you. Any comments or questions on Councilor McDougall's report?
Under the PACE program, which I'm in favor of, would you say that heat pumps and solar and electrical systems are your top priorities? And I only mention that because, do you think maybe that standby generators, so generators that are hardwired into homes, could be qualified for that? Or would that qualify for PACE?
I wouldn't think,
Okay.
personally, but it's about energy efficiency.
You know, this would be, like, in case the power went off 2 or 3 days, people's energy would go off, so maybe it doesn't count then.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest so here.
Okay. All right.
Okay, any other comments or questions? If not, we'll thank you for your report, Councilor McDougall, and we'll now move on to accountability and engagement. That's my report, my committee. We did have a meeting on August 6th. We discussed mainly the KPIs, and I don't have the minutes yet, but it was basically to finish off going over the key performance indicators that will provide us with information about how well we're performing against our strategic plan and against our goals. So that was completed, and that document will be provided. Robert, I think we're going to be able to get that out soon, the final document with the knowledge, key performance indicators and information on it. It's a strategic plan update.
Yeah, we'll update the KPIs, but we still have some work to do now to actually gather the data. Some of the KPIs are new, which we didn't have data for before, and a few of them we have to put some better parameters around the data to ensure that it's good data. So it will take probably another month or two to actually get the KPI data together now that we've agreed on what the KPIs will be.
And I think for residents, I think it would be really valuable for them to get a simplified document with a one-page showing sort of what we've achieved and what we plan to achieve and what our priorities are. I think that's going to be really valuable to residents so they can see our plans or very quickly where we, what our priorities are and seek their input on it. So that would be my intention anyway. Okay, that's basically my report. Any questions or comments on my report? If not, we'll move to human resources.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. And now's the time inquiries by members of council about any issue. Anything you'd like to inquire about?
I'd just like to make a statement that today is Tim Hortons Camp Day. It's the 40th annual big day for them, and including our Stratford Tim Hortons. So, hence the bracelet goes towards an excellent cause, sort of thing. And this year, because of COVID, they're having e-camps. So the camps are still going, sort of thing, just a little differently this year. Just wanted to recognize that. And I'd also like to join you in welcoming those 3 new businesses, La La Land, Powerhouse Realty, and Down East Stocks. That's great. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Just one comment that we're finally going to get our hardware store. I know it's been worked on, and I know it's going to be welcomed by the residents. Everybody's asking me, when's this place going to open? I can't wait to get there. So
Yeah, going door to door.
that's a good news story.
When I was last election, going door to door, that was one of the top things people raised. Was we should have a hardware store there, so that's great to see that.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move on to other committees. Stratford Seniors Complex, Seniors Report.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a 6-page report to read.
6 pages?
No.
Oh, 6 pages?
As has been said, this meeting has been quite long this evening, so I'll be brief.
Yeah.
Work has been completed to replace 5 kitchen sinks and taps. Tender has been awarded to Ostrich Brothers for replacement of 3 patio doors and 4 bedroom windows, and a fence by the garbage bins. And also a new waste bin has been installed, which has a lighter cover for the seniors to be able to get into that easier. And fully rented, and everything else is fine at the complex.
Mhm.
That's my
Okay,
report.
great, thank you. Okay, appointments to committees, anything there, Robert?
No.
Okay. Proclamations, I don't have any proclamations. Any other business that anyone would like to raise at this time? If not, I'll